The realization of mortality, yearning to capture your past memories via directing spontaneous movies, and of course, all while being a convenience store clerk. And speaking of convenience stores, we take our last trip to one because tonight we do a discussion of sorts on the latest Kevin Smith film, Clerks 3. This is a production that hopefully won't have a heart attack tonight. And you are listening to a With Great Power Comes Great Responsibility
What the was that?
edition of Just for Flicks. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Patty B. With me tonight, right beside me at the store, is Mr. B Dog, Mr. Brandon. How we doing tonight, man?
I am doing good. This is by far my favorite Kevin Smith film. I know you and I have differentiated on this a lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like this is very for me, I'm not a big comedy person, and there is comedy in this film, but I do feel it took more of a serious approach with it, which I was a
Yeah,
fan of.
sure.
I thought that's something we don't tend to see with Kevin Smith a lot.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that a little bit. Like I like
This was
seriousness with his films.
no, yeah, this was definitely the most serious Clerks film we've gotten
Mhm.
out of the 3.
Yeah,
And we'll talk about that, especially with, like, the ending and everything that led up to the ending. Um, yeah, it's definitely not what 2 was. I think it was more of like an homage to 1 with sprinkles of 2 in it, but really tried to make it its own movie from there, and I think we that's what was kind of the result was the more serious undertones.
exactly. That's why I said this movie has that, to me, it has that right mixture. It's the right mixture of comedy with the right mixture of drama. And, a lot of weirdness that happens in it as well. But we're gonna get into that. But Pat,
Right off
I
the
think
bat.
yeah. um, but Pat, I think it's time to go into our favorite segment of the podcast. What is the budget? Pat, what do you think?
Uh, I'm gonna have to say it's gonna be close to what 2 was. I remember you said 2 was like 5,000,000 or
It
something
was
like that.
5, right on the dot.
Oh, was it 5? It
It
was
was
5 with
no,
2?
5 was 2, right on the dot.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would say it might have been maybe a little bit more than 2 just because of inflation purposes, maybe 6, 7,000,000?
You were right with the second option. It is 7.
7,000,000.
7,000,000 was the budget. Now, here's the thing with opening weekend and the gross worldwide. So, commercially, this was a flop. But you gotta remember at the time, this was also being marketed in streaming. It's because of COVID. So you gotta
Mhm.
remember Amazon Plus was one, or not Amazon Plus, Amazon Prime was the main distributor.
How dare you sue this man?
I'm not giving Disney no more ideas. I'm not hinting Disney might have a might have a
Disney
monopoly right there.
Disney's gonna act like the, promoter in Rocky 5. They'll sue you.
Touch me, I sue. Opening weekend was $674,330,
Ugh, jeez.
and gross worldwide was $4,717,597. So it did lose money. And to be totally honest, out of all of them, this is the only one to ever lose money. But
Mhm.
again,
I think it's timing. A lot of it's timing, like you're saying.
yeah, the
And
COVID
and
times.
also, I mean, I don't know if you have the stat in front of you, but who's to say how many theaters that this was played at?
I don't think it was played at a lot because you got to
It
remember
doesn't
this was
seem like
mostly marketed towards Amazon Prime. This was marketed towards streaming apps. It was not marketed towards this. Well, it's like you and I said, when this was announced, it was a shock that they were going to make a third one. I know the way, like we talked about too, how Clerks 2 ended, which if you guys haven't checked that out, please go check out our review on Clerks 2. How Clerks 2 does end kind of sets up if they want to make a third one, they could.
Mhm.
But there was also those people who also thought Okay, them buying the quick stop, that's the end of their story. They don't need to have anymore.
Yeah.
But then you go, I think it's what, 12, 13 years later, you get a
Mhm.
picture with the main 4 from Clerks 2 saying, "Hey, we're making Clerks 3." And this is shortly after Kevin Smith's heart attack that almost took his life. Which I do kind of want to turn to that because that is my first talking point I have here with this movie because it does kind of start off the movie. We know in the movie Randall does have a heart attack. That's what kind of starts off the movie. Um,
It starts the whole premise of the movie
well,
pretty much.
hockey game. What are you talking about? That hockey game was fun. It was exciting. That was all his friends that he grew up with and everything.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it's just like the heart attack sparks the idea for what the main focus
Oh,
of the movie is.
like you talked about before we jumped on, it's one of my favorite parts of the film. It's probably my favorite comedic part of the film is the whole heart attack and
Oh, yeah.
the conversations that take place in the hospital. What
The Doctor is great.
yeah. What so here's my question to you, and we'll kind of talk about that scene because I do want to really cover that scene a little bit. How does knowing that Kevin Smith based Randall's heart attack on his own real life heart attack change the way we watch this movie?
I mean, especially if you know about Kevin Smith and know what's happened in his personal life.
Mhm.
Like me and you, because we're big fans of his movies, you're big fans of you know,
His movies and comics.
well, yeah, I was gonna say thank you with the comics. Um, I mean, I think it was done perfectly. I
Mhm.
mean, personally, I think it was kind of a nice thing to do and and a good idea to have for the movie.
Yeah.
I also remember hearing on one of his because he's also a pioneer in the podcast
Oh,
world too.
he's one of them that set podcasting on the map a
Yeah,
little bit. Mhm.
yeah. So I listened to his story on when he had a heart attack, and I love how accurate he made it.
Yeah.
Made it with how, with how, Randall was going through, the whole Widowmaker thing, like, that was actually told to him, like, "Hey, you literally had an 80% chance of dying because of the kinda heart attack that you're having." So and even some of the stuff that the doctor says is what he actually has said on his podcast, like, the whole, "I'm one of the best doctors," like, the doctor was like, "I'm one of the best heart surgeons around, you're not going to die today." Like, that kinda thing. And, again, like what we were just talking about, man, this scene is so funny, like, I think it's one of the funniest it's my favorite scene in the whole movie, like, the whole, "With great power comes great responsibility."
What the
It's just yeah, dude, it's just so like, it's just off the walls.
well, it's
The doctor is she's so well spoken, with how she delivers her lines and
yeah.
her wittiness and her just, dismissive humor is just so funny, man. It's,
One of my favorite scenes in the hospital in the like, when they're about to do the surgery that they're about to do, or the incision and everything, she's like, "If you have anything to pray to, now's the time to do so. Crom, I know you're there."
yeah.
It just those moments that's why I said, like, even what led up to him having the heart attack with Elias and his conversation, I really did enjoy that because I thought, "Oh, that was pretty funny," like, "Please smite thee," and he's like, "Oh, let me give you some mouth to mouth." "No, get off this, I'm not no Tinder date." That's why I said just some of those moments that's why I said and we've talked about in Clerks too, Elias's and Randall's relationship, which we will get to near the end of the movie too, because it does play a big part of it. Having that moment between them, they just feed off each other, and that
They do.
they do
They really do.
like just and it doesn't feel like they've lost a beat during that whole process. Even the change that we see through Elias in this movie, um, that's why I said like just that. And then when they're in the hospital, like pray with me, Dante, or Mister Dante, and it's like like even that, and then one of the other things like, "Mr. Dante, nuh-uh, I'm foo-foo, and this issue's between you two." It's so stupid, but it makes me laugh so hard because there's just so much emotion. But I agree with you. Like having going back to what we were talking about, Kevin Smith and Randall's heart attack. Um, that scene really it makes you kind of stop for a second. It makes you go, huh? Are they really going to do this now? Because here's the thing: you and I talked about this off screen. They did that with Becky already. They showcased Becky's death because
Mhm.
Becky's little obituary thing was on their cash register.
And I was gonna say, I love how they did that, very subtle on how they did that. They didn't say right off the bat, like, "Oh, Becky died," but, they didn't just it's not like they crammed it into the script.
But it was kind of
There was
a shock because it was like,
it was
"Fudge?"
yeah, and I just like how subtle it was. I think it was so subtle. I think because of the subtleness, it is what kind of enhanced the shock of it a little bit. The way that it was just on the cash register saying, "I had her obituary paper," and you get a good look at it for a few seconds, and then, we move on, but
It kinda shocked me. Now we do see Rosario Dawson through the film
mhm,
at point, but I told you I kinda felt like that was kind of a somewhat of a kinda like false advertising a little bit.
swerve, yeah,
Yeah, because it was like, how can you put her as one of the main stars of the movie when she's not even really one of the main stars? I feel like
yeah.
it kind of rubbed me the wrong way, but going back to the whole hospital scene, like, when you see his doctor come in dressed up like a witch, that made me laugh so hard 'cause he's like, "I'll be your witch of the evening." And she goes, "What the hell?" And then, yeah, I might have had one too many, and then you see the nurse, like, it's like
She's like, "You're gonna be fine," walks away, he's
not
not
gonna
gonna
make
make
it.
it.
Somebody pays the good witch, and then he goes, "What's next? A Munchkin?" And then here comes Justin Long's character.
And I
Take
love
over.
we see it a lot in the movie or we see it a lot in this movie, how many people were brought back, and also how many people that he's used in the past in his other movies,
Oh, this
and
was
just
the
puts
biggest one to me. Like, to see
yeah,
as many, because that first scene alone, and that's why I was telling you, like, that hockey scene might not seem like a lot to people, but you gotta remember, Kevin Smith is known to make movies with his friends. And so all those people in that first scene are all his friends he grew up with. These are all
mhm,
friends that he had. So all the comic book men are in that scene. That's Walter. You see Walter again. That was the egg guy that sits there, trying to
yeah, yeah,
working with the egg. Brian's there. That's who they based Randall off of. All the Ming being the one that gives the little kiss face to Dante in the hockey game.
mhm.
And I've got to meet him. He's a super nice guy, very, very cordial, very everything. But I know I've said that many times. The hospital scene really, I feel, is that right amount of drama, and you mix it so well with the comedy still. Like just like his like, I'm talking about the young Luke, not the get off my lawn Gran Torino Luke that we get in Last Jedi. Like those scenes, that's what
Not the Gran Torino, "Get off my lawn, Luke." That is funny.
when you really
Such a well-written line.
But that's how Kevin Smith does his conversations in
Yeah,
broadcast. So you see a lot of Randall in him in that scene, and then when you get to that whole last scene with him before they go out of the hospital, um, where Dante goes, "You've watched so many movies, I've never understood why you didn't make a movie. I always thought you could make a movie." And he goes, "You know what? You're right." Like that's that whole scene. It kind of like to me that references a lot to Kevin Smith because what did Kevin Smith do after? I'm going to start doing things differently. I'm going to start doing this and do that. So there's a lot of the references there that I feel, yeah, he did a really good job being clever with it,
mhm,
but let's still have a fun story, but I'm still going to tell you there's serious parts of this film. And for it to
mhm.
start off like that was great.
What takes you back from the other 2 movies because the other 2 movies are more just straight up comedy based
Again,
and
another change
dialogue driven, yeah.
and another change. Again, we get that scare. Now we're seeing things are going to be different, you
Mhm,
know. But like Elias, when he because he feels responsible for being
oh,
the one. that gave Randall his heart attack because he prayed to God about smiting him, he becomes a born again Satanist. Made me laugh so hard because everybody's looking. I'm like, what the that whole scene just makes you laugh, but it gives you that whole sense of scareness too. Like, and you kind of get that hint too with Dante's in the beginning when he has the conversation with the doctor after the surgery.
Mhm.
You get that hint of, yeah, you could be here too. Remember that. You know, you need to change your life up too.
Start cramming a vegetable down his throat.
Oh yeah. Are you in pain? Pain? Yeah. Hey, if that was a heart attack, I'll take another. That's easy. He's like he's high as he's
I love the part where she's opening up the stent. He's like, "Holy I can breathe again."
and then having that moment like, oh, that was you know me tell when he talks about the Widowmaker. When
Yeah.
he sits there and she goes, doesn't that sound like a comic book hero or villain you would hear? I was just sitting there like, shut up. Like now I'm gonna think of these characters and be like, no. And then the Degrassi song that plays after that. I know I can make it through. Oh my god. When I heard that, I was like, man, that takes me back to the days.
Are you talking about
Degrassi.
when, like, he can breathe again?
Yeah, that song that plays, that's from
Yeah, it's a
Degrassi.
fun song too, I liked it, yeah.
You ever watch Degrassi?
No.
That's where the rapper Drake got his start. Was through all that.
Oh, okay.
Mhm. And Jay and Silent Bob are in that universe too.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
didn't know
it's
that.
fun. You should well, it's not fun. It's a drama show. It's a teen drama show. But but yeah, let's go into this, Pat, a little bit. Now, we get the whole twist with him. Now he's now sparked to make this movie. After his heart attack, he gets Dante kind of motivates him to do something with his life, and he decides to make a movie.
About his life.
Yeah, about his life. And let's make sure of that. It was about his life, nobody else. Which, hint, hint, if you guys haven't seen it, kind of gives you a little hint to kind of what happens near the end in a blow up that might occur.
Mhm.
Um,
Kinda and a big blow up that I think shocked all of us when we saw it for the first time.
oh yeah, I was just like, whoa, like it
It
was
hit
just like,
like a pit in my stomach. Like, I all I remember is my brother telling me to watch this movie. He's like, "You should watch Clerks 3, it's pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah, I should watch it just because of the franchise."
yeah,
And then when you watch it, you're like, "Ugh, why did I do that to myself?"
it's like we said, this movie's going to hit different for everybody. It hits on different cylinders. There is a lot of good moments, a lot of comedy, stuff. Not to the point where it's extreme like Clerks 2 was, but there's still some good humor. Like, but the whole thing that he makes the movie about is essentially what they try to do is he's making Clerks and Clerks 2 throughout this whole film. That's what he's shooting. Does the meta twist of Randall making Clerks inside Clerks 3, was it smart storytelling, fan service, or Kevin Smith reflecting on his own legacy?
For me, it comes across as Kevin Smith reflecting on his own life because that's been kind of the whole trend of this movie, where even with the heart attack to um, being around his friends, the whole hockey game up top and all that stuff. This is all stuff that he did when he was,
Oh
when
yeah.
he was a clerk. No pun intended. But I think it's just a passion project of his and a reflection, or I guess it's more of a reflection of his passion, right, for filmmaking. We get that with the whole when they're making they're making the movie, that's another favorite part of mine, 'cause we're always bound to get at least 1 or 2 times per movie with Silent Bob to say something, right? He always says at least 1 line per
He's
movie.
got two in this line. And then,
And he's got 2 in this one, and man, they're both of his times are really good, but the first one where they're talking about the lighting
oh,
and And Randall's like, "Why do we have to shoot in black and white?" You're like, "That's dumb." Like, he's like, "Because I'm a fucking filmmaker." Like, I just it's so blunt and sudden too. He's like, "Because I'm a filmmaker, all right?" And he's like, "The colors in this place are ghastly. So the best thing that can happen is that I shoot in black and white." Which again, speaking of reflecting on his own life, that's why Clerks 1 was done that way.
Yeah. Well,
Because he couldn't afford the lighting package, but the lighting was already terrible because they needed a lighting
well,
package and they
well,
couldn't afford it.
well. Remember, part of it too is that they shot at night, so
Mhm.
all their
And that's
stuff was, it would have been if they did in color, it would have been different. It would have been a crappy film. But also the other thing is, like he says too, it makes you feel like you're watching it through a security camera,
Mhm,
which was a clever way in thinking. That's why I said that's why I kinda, like I do feel like part of it is Kevin Smith reflecting on his life, but I also feel some of it is fan service. Because I do feel like some of the things that people have questioned for quite some time is finally coming to light in this film.
mhm. I think that's fair to say. That's definitely fair to say. Yeah, now that I think about it too, yeah, there's a lot of, uh, answers he gives to fans, just little things too, little nuances throughout the film, and also, I think paying homage is another thing for a fan service. He pays homage to a lot of his films.
Mhm.
There's always like the whole Buddy Christ thing. Like when you see the picture on the kite, it's Buddy Christ from Dogma. Um, I'm pretty sure there's a Mallrats reference in here too somewhere.
I think there is, I can't remember where, but
Uh, Jay's wearing a shirt that says "Buy Me Toys," and that's the toy store in Mallrats.
there you go. And then
Um,
Chasing Amy, I think, was referenced in it too.
yeah,
That's a
Yep, I think there's some comic drawings that were in Chasing Amy that are in, like, the background and stuff like that. Um, yeah, there's just I love how that's kind of done throughout the whole movie. There's references to Jay and Silent Bob being on a film set before. He's like, "Oh, we've done this like, twice before," and because of Jay and Silent Bob Strikes Back
"Don't
with
talk
the
to us
whole
about this Hollywood
Good Will
slang, we've
Hunting
been
too.
there."
Yeah,
It's like
why do they call you Knocker?
yeah. Man, it's just one of those things, like, with this movie, that's where I feel like I get it. I think it is Kevin Smith reflecting on his own legacy a little bit, but just some of those answers that you get in those films is kinda like him going back at fans, not in a bad way, but to make
Mhm,
him understand, "This is why I did this. This is why I made this decision." You know? And I feel like even the scene when they're talking about the scenes they're gonna do, that is a big point because that's essentially what kinda sparked him, like, for how much we deal with all these issues, why not make
mhm,
our own movie about this? And kinda talk to him about the sense of what I deal with on a regular basis, you know? So, you see a lot of that in this film, like, it truly is such a great film. Now, before I go into my next talking point, there is one scene I really wanna talk about, talking about past references to movies or people he's worked with. Let's go to the audition scene when they're auditioning to people to come into the
yeah,
movie. There is a lot of people he has worked with here that shows up in this scene.
mhm.
Being Practical Jokers being one of them, 2 of them that got their starts with Kevin Smith. Sarah Michelle Gellar's in this scene.
Yeah, Freddie Prinze what's funny is when I was watching this, getting ready for this, show, I remember watching the scene with the auditions and seeing all the people, but I completely spaced out on Freddie Prinze Jr. and his wife, Sarah Sarah Michelle Gellar, and when I saw Sarah Michelle Gellar, I was like, "Huh? I'm like, I had to double take it for a second. I'm like, is
well,
that
like,
Daphne?"
like even how Freddie Prinze Jr. comes up, he's just like, Freddie Prinze Jr. I'll anything that moves. Wait a
Yeah,
minute.
yeah, yeah. He's like, "Wait, is this a" I love how that's the trend throughout the whole movie, like, is this a like, it's mentioned, like, 3 or 4 times
Yeah.
throughout the movie.
Elias throws it at him. Like, so it's a film? It's like, no, this is not. Or what was it? My favorite one's like, oh, is it a porno film? Yes, it will take my friend 21 nights. Like, I just that whole scene, because you see them, you see SNL alums in there.
Donnell Rawlings, Bobby Monahan
Um,
from SNL, who's the one that's auditioning for Silent Bill,
mhm.
which is funny. He's like, "What is he doing?" He's like, "Oh, he's auditioning for Silent Bill." Danny
Yeah,
Trejo,
Danny Trejo.
I think the big one for me was Ben Affleck.
Yeah, well, that one I kinda is it sad to say when you do those movies, is it sad to say you kinda, like, you knew he was gonna do it? Because that's again, like we talked about, he can't sit there and deny crediting him to be the one Kevin Smith to be the one that sparks his career a little bit, when you really think about it.
Oh, yeah, Mallrats was huge.
Mallrats and Dogma kinda set him
Yeah,
off, you know, and it
Dogma set up yeah, Good Will Hunting, and then wasn't Kevin Smith was a producer on.
yeah, he was one of the executive producers on Good Will Hunting. And then it was Chasing Amy, and then Jersey Girl. He's in a lot of Kevin Smith films. But what movie, because he does reference a movie too, because I remember seeing this too, where he's like, you know, Tiger Face, Lemon Face. Yeah.
Yeah.
What movie does he do that in? Because I have seen him do that in a Kevin Smith film, but I don't remember which one. I almost
I
said
wish
Dogma, but then I went, I don't know if that's right.
I either Dogma or Chasing Amy, I feel like.
It wasn't Jersey Girl, because that was also the other one I was thinking. It's Jersey Girl. I can't remember off the top of my head. I know which one
Uh,
I'm not
I
thinking.
wanna say it's Chasing Amy. Is that with I think that's with Matt Damon, when Matt Damon's in it for a scene in Chasing Amy, and he says
Oh,
that.
yeah, he is. He is. Yes, I know exactly where he's you Tiger Face. Roar! Or what was the other one? I had it up here. Anthony Michael Hall, I loved in this scene too.
Oh, yeah, man, that was one that I was not expecting, was like, "Is that Anthony Michael Hall from Breakfast Club?"
I love how he's like, "Anything that moves." Oh, that may have came off
He's
too
like,
strong.
Can I say it a little differently?" He's like, "Can you
Can I
please say"
borrow your underwear for 30 seconds?
Yeah.
That scene got me good. I like the Impractical Joker that came up. I'm not even supposed to be here today. Damn right. You know, it just gets on stage. It just makes you laugh and just kind of see that whole scene. It just kind of even his mom was there. Did you pay attention to that?
Yeah.
His mom's like, "Who wrote this script? His mother should be ashamed." It was like, oh no. That
That
scene
is
got
pretty
me
funny.
good, but I'll talk about an ending scene later on because there's something special with her scene in the original movies that kind of harkens at the end of the film. So, but that's why I said, like that scene. Now, I do kind of want to, I do kind of want to go into other likes and dislikes before we get to the last points because the last points are kind of at the end of the movie.
Mhm.
What were some of your likes and dislikes throughout the film?
Yeah, so, I mean, one thing I liked about this movie is we got more of the convenience store setting than we did 2, right? Because 2 takes place at movies. So for me, I think to be back where it started and we're in color also, like, in a modern day feel to it, I really enjoyed that because I don't know, it's just cool that they got to film this at the same exact locations. So,
Well, you gotta
we're
remember at
seeing
the time that this movie was made, Kevin Smith owned the Quick Stop.
yeah.
So he did own that right away. But there's something before I didn't mean to cut you off, but there was something that kind of sparked me by what you said. And I'm kind of curious to see your thought about this. This is the only Clerks film that has multiple days. Every other movie of Clerks has only been in one day.
One day, I never thought of it like that.
Clerks 3, you have multiple weeks that happen through this film.
Mhm.
What's your take on that? Like, did you like it, the change, or did you wish it was still just a day?
Well, it didn't really it didn't register until now, and I think because of that, I don't think it did bother me much. I think there's a reasoning for it, like, there I don't think he could have told the story he wanted to if he stick to that format.
Yeah.
So I no, I like again, it just didn't register to me until you really said it. Like, yeah, I think the first two are perfect for that reason, or you know, they're good for that reason. I don't think it would have been realistic nor right to cram everything that's in this movie into one day.
The
I
movie
just don't
just
think
ends with Randall's heart attack, and that's it.
pretty much. I mean, yeah, that would put me out for the day too. I think like, oh no, he's back to work.
And the
Wants to
Oscar for
make a
best
movie.
original short goes to Clerks
So,
3.
could you imagine trying to like think of how to cram this movie into one day now and try to make it seem logical? I don't think you could. I don't think it'd be possible.
It'd be a short film that would be nominated for Oscars. And your short film for best original short goes to Clerks 3 by
That's
Kevin Smith.
three.
This is the first Oscar win in a directorial, even though that's not his first Oscar win. People do forget with him being a producer on Good Will Hunting, he did win an Oscar.
Ironically, the second ever
Ironically.
ironically ironically the second third sequel to get to receive an Oscar behind Lord of the Rings at Return of the King.
Yeah.
You know.
That's why I said like this. That's why I said it's. I didn't. That's why I was bringing when you spark. I was like, oh, I forgot to mention that. Like I saw that. I
Yeah.
I thought that more recently because I it didn't bug me that whole 3 week 4 week span that we see didn't bug me. I think it was a clever way in telling the story because again, this is a reflection on Kevin's life. At this point, again, another change. Now we're going to 3 4 weeks instead of one day.
Mhm.
I know that's not probably what he was thinking, but just the point to think about. But okay, let's go back to it. What was some of the other likes and dislikes?
Yeah, no, I just love, like I said, how you got to see that setting in a more modern take of it. You're seeing it 30 years later, essentially, and it looks the exact same and all that stuff. The humor I think stayed right where the other two left off. I do think that the joke writing in this was phenomenal. Um, bouncing off to a quick dislike, I just think that, this movie was kind of a nostalgic grab at some points. It just tried to seem overly nostalgic to where it came off a little cheesy. And I think because of that, we got bad acting in return. We talked on the last episode for Clerks 2 that, Brian O'Halloran, I think, holds his own as an actor. He's a great actor. He in Clerks 1 and Clerks 2. I just think in this one, for me, I don't think his performance stood out like the other two have. And saying that, I think there was a few times where the acting came off a little bit more trying too hard, I guess,
I
just to put it in simple form a little bit. I think Jeff Anderson as Randall killed it as always. Like he just kind of picked up where he left off. Elias's character kind of
Elias
picked up
is
where he left off.
Elias.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like Elias? I love Elias.
Can I
He's a
piggyback
perfect.
something here that you said?
Yeah.
To think about it more, and I did this more within the last couple times I've watched it for this. I think they did that intentionally. I think this movie you were supposed to see through the eyes of Randall. Again,
Mhm.
I think he did it purposely. It's like we talked about in Clerks 2. Even though it's Dante's story that we see effective heavily in this, it was Randall's point of view too. And it's the same way here. It's Randall's story now. It's Dante's point of view. So the acting is going to rub off different. And I think that's where you and I differentiated too at Clerks 2. So I did like Dante in that film, but yet I felt like Jeff Anderson's Randall did come across a little cheesy at points or a little too strong. But in this movie, I feel like he does it intentionally when he's trying to focus on another character, but yet You see what I'm saying? Like it kind of,
Uh-huh.
I think Smith does that intentionally.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I do think you get more of that feel that this is Randall's movie
Hmm.
for sure, right? The second one is definitely Dante's movie.
Oh yeah,
First one,
it's kind of both,
it's kind of both. Yeah, it starts off feeling like Dante's, but then you meet Randall, and I think
and
it's like
Randall f's it all up. But
it's a perfect blend for both of them in the first one. But yeah, no, I do think, yeah, obviously with what happens in this one, you would think like, oh yeah, it's focused on Dante, but no, in hindsight, it's really Randall's movie because of what Randall goes through in the beginning, and the whole reasoning for the plot is because of Randall.
exactly.
So yeah, but I mean, going back to just like I said, it just felt like it was trying to be overly nostalgic, especially with the first movie, with how we're bringing back all these, little nuances. I know we're making a movie of their past lives and the past experiences, so obviously and naturally, we're gonna get stuff that was said in the first. I think it was just the repetitions of it, you know what I mean? Just trying to go back to something that was great, like, "Oh, yeah, we're just gonna play the hits," kinda thing. That's just the feel I got off of it. Not saying it's a bad movie because of that. For me, it's just something that I kind of sniff out and was like, I see what they're doing here, and I'm not a fan.
Instead of
But
going, ha, you're like, eh.
eh, yeah.
You want me to give you one prop from this movie compared to the second one? You ready? And I think you might appreciate it. I did like Emma's role here a little bit. It's kind of like
Well, she's barely in it
she
too.
is, but here's the thing: her timing in it was perfect. Again,
Yeah,
like
the whole,
Randall kind of hints
whole
to her because
timing
Randall
thing.
goes, "Well, it's sad that you never married her because we would have the money." But in reality, it's kind of like I wanted to sit there during that scene. Well, if he was still with her, he wouldn't be here with you right now. Like, so let's remember that. But when you get that call with Dante to her asking for the money but lying about it and saying he had a heart attack, he's got bills to pay, I wouldn't come to you unless we just needed to. And at first he says no. And then wait, do you even have collateral? And he goes, well, if I have to, I'll put up my share of the store. And she goes, that's ugh. Like just her scenes just vibe so well in this compared to that. But I also think it's because of her maturing and acting that I feel
Yeah,
that works a lot better. You gotta remember
mhm,
that when the first one, when she was in Clerks 2, she really wasn't a big actress at that point. She's really not still a big actress. But it's a sense of I feel like since the years have grown, she's able to grow with it and it makes better sense. Um, like even the whole ending scene when you get her going to Randall and going, Dante, I loaned Dante 30 grand to make your silly movie. And now, because he's not, unless you have this money,
yeah. He threw up collateral as his half of the quick stop. Yeah.
and he did that,
So and
buddy.
I I love that too because that's like a perfect timing thing with Elias
Yeah.
and always forget his buddy's name in
Kites are
this.
flying. Oh my God. 1 million.
What's that?
It's that whole, I can't remember his
Oh yeah,
name, but
yeah.
he doesn't say a line until the ending of the movie.
He's like Elias's Silent
Oh,
Bob,
that's
and that's
exactly what
what
Jay
he's saying.
calls him. He's got his Jay and Silent Bob. know? But one of the other things, again, we get Veronica. Veronica comes back in this, and her scene
Yeah,
is
that
so
was cool.
powerful. That's where I actually, to be totally honest, that's actually where I fell in love with this movie more was when Veronica came into it. It's not because of Veronica, but it's the scene that happens. The whole scene. So what happens if you guys don't know the scene? The script was sent to her, and she feels somewhat violated with this. This is not. You don't need to make this movie with my scenes. Cut my scene out because I don't want to relive this. And when she goes off on him, she strikes at Dante and
Mhm.
says, and unlike you guys, I have a family. And that whole scene, when you see Brian O'Halloran's facial expression go,
And you see Randall look over to Brian too,
"The
or you
Dante."
to Dante, and he's like, "Oh, shit,"
Yeah.
like
And then she regrets saying that and she walks out. But then you have that whole reconciliation between the two in a certain way, which is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie. Like, you don't look over a date, or, you don't look over the age of 37, like kind of referencing back. And in that whole scene, it's like where he says, if I would have known he would have sent you the script, I would have told him no. And have that whole thing where there's still respect between the two of them, even though they've went through the crap they've went through. It just shows a lot. And it shows, like, even her being at the funeral was tearful. Like, I was crying during her scene where you see her face kinda like,
yeah.
um, which kinda, like I said, one of the other scenes I liked is, like I said, I know we haven't talked about it yet, is when Brian or, not Brian, now you got me saying it. When Dante gets drunk and goes and has the newspaper there, because again, another reference to Kevin Smith, because the guy or the husband in that little family trio is his podcast partner for Fat Man on Batman.
Oh, okay, I didn't
Yeah,
know
that's
that.
his podcast partner on that. And took all my he went to the strip club with all my big $5 bills I wanted, bingo. Like, that
That
whole
line that actually made me laugh a little bit when I heard it. I was
the
like,
way
"Alright,
she
that's."
delivers it too was great. I see a lot of white. I don't see a lot of black.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just the way she delivers those lines are so perfect. But then when you get that, but that's not why I love the scene too. The scene that I love is when Randall pretty much they're doing the scene and Dante goes off on him. And he goes off
Yeah.
hard because that's
Hard.
where you get that whole twist of the movie.
It's like harshly hard,
Yeah,
if that makes.
because like he says, do you think I really wanted to relive my life? And he goes, "Well, it's my life." And he goes, "Your life is my life." That whole movie scene, because we see they were going to go reshoot the movie scene,
Mhm.
and that hurt him because it was going back down something that he wasn't ready for. And so it's like, I think that's an overall theme too in this movie is that you get that sense of one's willing to learn and change his life around because of this, while the other one's still stuck in his past a little. And we see that with Dante and Randall a lot. And even the ending ideal like satisfies that because he was content with the life he had and he was happy with what was about to happen, which I do kind of think it does lead up to the next point, and we'll kind of go back into likes and dislikes. How did you feel about Dante's story in Clerks 3 overall? I know we kind of talked a little bit about it, but mainly what I want to talk about is the ending because
Yeah.
the ending is where a lot of people go, maybe it's too heavy for this, or did the ending hit good? Because I do feel like it hit good. I feel like it was a great way to end his story.
I think it was too. I honestly, I think his story's great. The only thing I didn't like about Dante in general was just the acting and the performance in this one. I just don't think it stood out as much as the other 2 did, as the other 2 movies with Dante in it. But going back to, like, how his story was supposed to be and how it transpired and everything, I loved it, and I think it blended perfectly for the film. I think it gave the film what it needed for that serious feel to it, you know? The whole Rosario Dawson input in this movie, I think, was perfect. Or her coming up to him when he's at the movies, trying to calm him down.
Or
What
even
was
at the
there was
gravesite. The gravesite
at the
was,
graveside, that's the first time you see her.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was my favorite
Um,
scene with her was at the gravesite. Even though it did get a little, kind of thing, it gives you that sense of it's finally like her telling him it's okay to move on. it's okay to have that life because it's like she says, because then you get to hear the kid's name too, and it was
Hmm.
Grace. She said, "I know losing me and Grace hurt you, but it's okay to move on." But you see
Yeah.
him so stuck on his life where he can't move on like that. It's hard for him. And like I feel like even though it's not probably an important part of the film, but that first scene where you see him just sit at the counter again and him just like going down, it's again another depressing feel. Because it's a
Hmm.
sense of now having that scene where you see the obituary and then him like grabbing the cash register to like hold her and then just to get depressed. It's a big scene. It sets the tone for the story. And especially the song that plays during that scene, "Welcome to the Black Parade" or by My Chemical Romance. And
Yeah.
that that hits. It gets
Yeah.
you. That whole scene with Dante at the end, like I said, was one of my favorite scenes in the movie. But then when you see Randall go, that was one of the things I really loved with Elias, was that ending where Elias straight up went to Randall when he has the heart attack or when Dante has the heart attack,
Mhm.
where he says, my movie, open your eyes. Look at
Yeah, well, Randall was like, "I'm gonna go back to, shooting the movie." He's like,
Megan.
"What do you mean you're gonna go back?"
Yeah. And like he makes him realize that Dante did so much for him. And it's a sense of like he even called his ex, which I love that scene that he actually says that Dante told him that. And he doesn't tell Randall.
Yeah. That was a subtle, kind of a subtle trick to enhance the, I think it kind of enhanced the attitude between the characters, right?
I think it's made this is kind of that scene where I saw Elias become Dante for Randall. Now Dante might not come back. Elias is now going to be your Randall or your Dante. Like, do I think we're going to get another movie with this? No. And if they do, I'd be really shocked. Like, even shocked after hearing, like, more shocked than hearing the third one was going to be made. But I do feel Elias kind of stepped up in that role. And then you get that whole scene where he goes to Jay and Silent Bob and says discreetly, "I need you to make a distraction in the ICU." And then you get Jay, "I pooed in the ICU." It's just so stupid how it goes. And then Silent Bob, like looking around, he's like, I'm like, "There's people right there. Are you kidding me?" It was just so stupid. But then you get to that room and he shows Dante the movie. What I love about that scene is it's like Dante read like his life flashing before his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's all the good memories and some bad memories, maybe not,
But the
but
bad
I
memories
think it
what
was
led to the good memories.
yeah, and I think it was all the good times that they spent in that store and all the experiences they had together. No, I think it was perfect too, because then when you as soon as you see Rosario and Brian O'Halloran's character in the movie theater together, you know exactly, like, what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm actually getting goosebumps thinking about it right now, but it's a very tense, emotional
Oh,
moment
yeah.
when that happens, man, because when you finally figure out what's going on, you're like, "Oh, like,
It
they're
took
really
me a
about."
minute.
I remember when I watched it for the first time, I was taken back. I was like, "Are they really supposed to kill off Dante right now?"
It kinda shocked me a little bit because that's why I said I don't think it hit me like that right away.
Yeah.
Then when you see him when Rosario shows up, it's like, "Oh, he's about to go into the afterlife there." And then that's
Mhm.
when you have the, "Oh, let's go" moment, and he goes, "That was the best movie I have ever watched." It's like now in some ways he's content with his life. He's made all the stuff he was going to do. He made a good friend, and he made his life, happy, and that's all that mattered to him.
Mhm.
It's a sense of that, you know what, I couldn't have trusted to a better film director. That whole scene just hits hard. It made me tear up during the
Mhm.
because it's like, "Damn, they did go hard with this." But I
Yeah,
think
I remember.
intentional.
Go ahead.
It was
No, I
it was an intentional moment because it's like I told you before, I feel like this was Kevin Smith both ways. Randall being the one that lived just like he did, but in some ways now he can be content with his life if he goes.
Mhm.
And I do feel like this is why this movie was made, because this is a legacy that he's made. If it wasn't for Clerks, he wouldn't have a career.
Mhm.
Like I don't think if you made Dogma be your first movie or you made any of his other movies
Well,
first, I don't think
and there was a reason why we're paying homage to all of his films in this movie because this is the franchise that started him.
I don't
So,
think he'll do more movies. Or if he does, it's not going to be tons. I don't feel like he'll do tons more, just because I do feel like this. If this was his last movie, I'd be content with it.
mhm.
I think he'll work on projects, but I don't think he'll go overboard with it. Like,
Yeah, or if it's like so he could probably do producing work and stuff
yeah,
like that too.
I think he has that experience where now he can help other indie writers and indie directors and all that become better. Just like
And help his daughter out too. I mean, look at his daughter was in the latest Quentin Tarantino movie.
yeah, and
So,
his daughter's also in this movie in two roles. So
mhm.
I want to talk about that scene. You ready? So we see her in the funeral scene, which didn't really have a big part of the movie.
Mm-mm.
That final scene is what gets me.
Yeah, where she's looking at all the milk.
But you know why that's so important, right?
Mm, what's
Because
that?
Kevin Smith's mom was the original milkmaid in the movie.
Oh, that's right.
She was the original milkmaid in 1 and 2, and then she takes it up, so it's like a passing of the torch to her too.
Yeah.
And so it was clever how they did it.
I never thought of it like that, man. I just never put 2 and 2 together there. That is cool. That is
It was
super
a very
cool.
clever way in how they did it.
Meaningful.
Yeah,
Way more meaningful.
it
Yeah.
shows you how much he's loved doing this franchise, but now it's time for the next generation. It's now time for them to take over.
Yeah.
And that whole scene, like I said, you get that same thing, you go to the funeral. And the funeral, like I love the whole I love the whole little movie speech that Randall gives at the end. He's like, "The Departed," which was really good up until the final scene with the rat. And then you see Silent Bob. Yeah, like
Which I was thinking about that. I'm like, dude, Kevin Smith wanted to write that in because that's how he felt about it.
yeah,
And it's just funny. Then they pan to Kevin Smith's character, and then he's like,
yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
and then he goes, "But
I laugh.
I'm gonna end it with something that you always said, and that I always you're not even supposed to be here today."
Yeah.
And that scene and that song that plays behind it, oh my god.
Yeah, that Pearl Jam song,
Yeah,
Just Breathe.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
And then you end the movie with "I'm from New Jersey." Oh my
yeah.
god. I'm like, "Man, they went hard with this." Like, it's like,
Yeah, the movie took an emotional turn very quickly.
it did, and I think it was a good way to do it because, again, not all comedy films are going to end the way you want it to end, and I feel
Mhm,
like that's a good way to do it because, you know, it just was a really good scene overall. Like, there's really no going back on it, there's no negativity towards it. I enjoyed it. This is by far my favorite Clerks film, my favorite Kevin Smith's film, and it just really I just feel like for him to make a movie like this, I have not seen something like this since his executive producing on Good Will Hunting. And have that sense of a little bit of mixture of comedy, but a little mixture of drama just worked. And it did it really well in this film. And yeah, there was really nothing else I can say about it. Dante's story was great in this, and so was Randall's. And that's why I said there was really no characters wasted in this film. I thought Emma was in it for a right amount of time. I thought Elias was in it for the right amount of time. It just worked. I think I told you the only dislike I had was Jay. It's just because I felt like for all the other, like, the smart aleck remarks and stuff that he always tends to have,
Mhm.
you don't really see that in this film with him. He's more chill, he forgets things. I didn't like that either, like, "Oh, I thought his name was Sergio." I'm like,
Yeah, it's kinda dumb.
yeah, it kinda was a dumb scene. The only thing I liked with him is when, Randall yells out 37, and then you have Dante, like, roll his eyes and then realize he's writing that in the script. He's like,
Oh,
don't go
yeah.
in the script." And he goes, "Shut up, it's night time." And then they go back in. Like, just to have those moments, it just well, like, even the scene, like, "Dance!" He goes, "You dance." Like, that to me was Jay. That's Jay to the T. Uh,
Yeah, and I love when he does the whole dance in front of the store like the first one was, and then also, I don't know if we mentioned it, but the soundtrack in this movie is fantastic.
yeah.
Just in general, I know we just talked about the whole, Pearl Jam song that's at the end, but
Yep,
the whole
they
part where that part where they go, "Find your way back to the heart." Oh, that song is so
isn't that,
good.
Jefferson Starship?
I think it is, but it was in that part where he starts dancing, and then
Yeah.
that's when they start playing the song, and
Yeah,
it was a feel good moment in the movie. I really enjoyed it.
like, Lit, um, um, what was it? What was that song? It's the song right when they were going to the hospital.
Yeah, My Own Worst
Yeah,
Enemy.
thank you. That song, that's what I said. They actually bumped up the score. I have most of the songs from that on my playlist because I do love that music.
Mhm.
But that's why I said that. One of the other scenes I know we didn't talk about was the shooting. Like they were shooting where Dante was supposed to be killed in the first movie. And he goes, what the hell? You're gonna kill me off in the third act? And he goes,
Yeah,
"Well,"
yeah.
because it kind of again goes back to that whole fan service scene where it's like this was something that this is why it was cut out. You can't shoot somebody in the third act because that's originally how, like we've talked about in Clerks, that was supposed to be the original ending was Dante being shot and killed. And that was a big scene, and then they cut it to make it look like this, the way they did. It you know, that was what I was like, I'm still pay or play, right? It's just it's like okay. Like
Sure, sure.
producer says I gotta cut your scene. It's so stupid.
I kinda wish we got Jason Lee in this too.
That
We
was
kinda got
one of the
robbed.
ones I was shocked with that he did not show up. That was
Yeah,
one I was
Matt
like,
Damon's one thing, but Matt Da I see, I
he was
between,
also
like, Matt
awesome.
Damon and Ben Affleck, I feel like Ben Affleck's more of a Kevin Smith guy
Yeah.
than I think Matt Damon, because Matt Damon was already doing other movies before the whole Kevin
Well,
Smith
you gotta
thing.
remember, I feel like Matt Damon still has I'll put it out there, Matt Damon's still the better actor out of the 2.
Oh, yeah.
Because you gotta remember, that guy, right after Good Will Hunting, had Saving Private Ryan. Had a
Mhm.
lot of big hits after. Ben Affleck, yeah, he had some hits, but most of them were Kevin Smith movies.
Gone Girl's awesome
Gone
movie.
Girl, Fargo what, didn't he do one, wasn't it something like Fargo or Argo?
Argo.
He did Argo, and he won Best Director and Best Film at that.
He did that Michael Jordan movie, the Air
Air
Jordan.
Jordan. I didn't care for that movie,
I thought it was pretty good for what it was.
but I've never
Jason Bateman's
and
great.
for crying out loud, he was Batman.
Mhm.
I
He's
remember that tape from
not a terrible Batman either.
I still remember how, Kevin Smith reacted to that. He's like, "Oh, I know Batman now."
That's funny.
But, like, just going back to it, like, Clerks 3 is just it was a really great film. I get where you're coming from with the acting in some sequences, because I did feel like that too, especially, like, Jay and Dante had scenes there too like that. But for the most part, I enjoyed it. But what was your ranking for this film?
This one, like, I think it's probably gonna be the lower of the 3, um, just because I think it was, again, more of a nostalgic feel to it, and not saying anything against that. I love that, I love the idea of that, and I love that the serious undertones that this movie gave, and really the serious outcome that this movie had. Um, but I think also and I've said this before with other movies, I do think that the other 2 came at a more important time in my life where I was new to movies and I was experiencing different things in life, and I was also seeing what I liked when it came to movies, and I think the first 2 resonated more with me on that front compared to this one, you know? This one I think it was a ticket to go back to that. Um, yeah, and because of that, I'm gonna give this movie. I'm giving it a solid 6.3.
A 6.3.
Yeah,
You heard me there, Smalls, because that's not. I have my ranking really high up on my list.
yeah.
I gave Clerks a pretty high rating. The first one. Clerks 2, I think it was like a 7.5. This I'm giving a 9.1.
9.1, dang.
I told you, I really love that mixture of comedy and drama. I really do. I like how they brought some of the old characters back into it and made them feel a part of the movie than just, oh, they're there. Veronica was part of the movie, even though she wasn't in it for a very long time. She was still had a scene and made it relevant why she was in the film. Rosario Dawson being a big part of it too, and kind of the story that kind of sets Dante, kind of foreshadows Dante's future. Um, just and Randall, I've never really said this about Randall. Randall to me in this movie really hit me in a very he hit me harder than most. And because I feel like all of us have been Randall at one point. And I do feel this movie really resonates that more than any of the others. And that's why I said 9.1. This is a movie I do rewatch a lot. This is a movie
Mhm.
um I just tend to watch more than most. I will watch Clerks. I will watch Clerks 3. Clerks 3 is just one of those films that I could watch it, listen to it in the background, know exactly what's happening. I don't need to watch it. That movie was on repeat for quite a while at my house because that was such a good movie. But I feel like this is a great way to head out of the podcast, Pat. I think this is a great way to head out of our Clerks franchise. Um,
Yeah, man.
but yeah, Vance, we want to hear from you. Do you guys like us doing the franchises where we go over a movie in a franchise or by a company or a director? Or did you like us doing theme months? We want to hear that in the comments. Um, Also, what's your thoughts about Clerks 3? What do you love? What do you not like? Let us know in the comments. We want to hear that. Remember to check out Patty B and I on Instagram and TikTok at J4F Podcast. Also, check us out on Spotify and YouTube at Just for Flicks. And remember, if you like this content, you want more of it, remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and hit that bell notification so you never miss a video. Without further ado, I turn it over to Patty B to take us out.
Thank you guys for everything. Glad we had the opportunity to do these, considering we weren't even supposed to be here today. Thank you, B Dog, as always. And remember, we do it just for flicks.
So, Pat, before we go out, can you give me a Pacino?
Wow. Ooh-ah.
Ooh.